Eva lives a life of alienation. She's not comfortable in her pregnancy like the other expecting mothers. After her son is born, Eva can't get him to stop crying, but her husband, Franklin, he's able to handle the baby just fine. As Kevin grows older, he begins to exhibit concerning behaviors, so Eva takes him to a doctor. No, the boy doesn't have autism. He has none of the telltale rocking signs, and his lack of speech is really nothing to worry about. When Kevin shoots up Eva's carefully curated room with a variety of paint colors, Franklin assures her that their son only meant to help make it special. Perspective is a fickle thing. It would be very easy to place Eva in the unreliable narrator category, but her feelings about Kevin's increasingly disturbing behavior are not wrong. It's just that her husband always manages to chalk everything up to an accident or a misunderstanding. It's not quite gaslighting, but Franklin never investigates these scenarios beyond the surface level, beyond what's the nicest, most convenient story for him.
Hey, Suey, you want to come collect arrows?
No!
When Kevin menacingly slams half a jelly sandwich onto the table, Franklin claims that he's a sweet little boy, and that's just what they do. Kevin disappears his sister's pet hamster and leaves it in the garbage disposal for his mother to find. Eva doesn't even confront her husband on that one, and by the time Kevin permanently damages Celia's eye, Franklin has so drunk the Kool-Aid on his son's innocence that he blames Eva for leaving the drain stuff out. Kevin is very skilled at manipulating his father. Even as a baby, he turns the charm on for his dad. He triangulates his parents by giving positive reinforcement to his father and nothing but blank stares to his mother, manufacturing friction between them. The more Eva questions her son's behavior that Franklin cannot or chooses not to see, the less credible she sounds, and the easier it is for Kevin to hide within the safety of his father's ignorance.
First he cries too much, then he's too quiet, then he makes up his own little language, and it's annoying. Then he has trouble toilet training, a lot of kids do. You see this up there personal, but it's not good for him.
Regardless of Kevin's Machiavellian prowess, Franklin still bears responsibility. He bullies his wife in subtle ways. They leave New York City very much against her wishes. He completely dismisses her feelings of exhaustion with the newborn Kevin, and at one point, Franklin witnesses Eva verbally venting her frustration at toddler Kevin, who is busy destroying the kitchen. Instead of trying to understand her perspective, he just shakes his head in a judgmental fashion. And there is one massive red flag that has nothing to do with interpersonal relationships or taking anyone's side. Kevin wears a diaper way beyond a reasonable age, an age at which he can beat his father at a video game and figure out how to load a water gun with paint. He definitely possesses the intelligence and motor skills required to wipe his own ass. This is quite clearly a power move designed to keep his parents in his service, but Franklin just lets it and everything else go in favor of a simple and convenient explanation. Kevin flaunts his true nature in front of Eva because he knows he has the upper hand. At one point, he pisses his mom off and she shoves him into a wall, breaking his arm. They go to the hospital, where Eva expects to be told off by some authority figure, but the doctor just praises her son for being brave. When they return home to Franklin, Kevin makes up a story about falling off the changing table, and Eva avoids condemnation from her husband, but there is a cost. Her son now harbors this shameful secret and uses it to get his way. When the new baby comes along, our little psycho gets jealous of all the attention going to Celia. Tapping into his mother's insecurities, Kevin makes himself sick so that Eva must take care of him. And for her, it's a relief. She's always wanted to mother Kevin this way. He finally accepts and reciprocates her love after years of relentless cruelty. In turn, Kevin rejects Franklin, but then uses his father's ensuing guilt to win his attention back. He drops his mother when she's no longer relevant, demonstrating that she was only ever a pawn in his scheme. Celia looks up to her big brother. She treats him like a god and happily fetches him soda despite his insults.
No, not that one, you retard.
He ties her up with Christmas tinsel and callously vacuums her hair, all of which happens just out of Franklin's purview, and so Kevin is able to victimize yet another person in the house. When her daughter's hamster goes missing, Eva hides the fact that Kevin killed the critter. The truth would have only led Celia to be more upset, and Franklin wouldn't believe it anyway. And then Celia loses an eye. It's never explicitly stated what happens, but my theory is that Kevin dared his sister to flush out her eye with some household chemicals, and then she lied to preserve his innocence. Part of the reason that Eva can't protect her daughter is that Celia never speaks up about the bad things that Kevin does to her. She's just a little kid who loves everybody. She doesn't want Big Brother to get in trouble. Kevin overhears his parents talking about separation and decides to make a change, a permanent one. Taking a rather warped inspiration from Robin Hood, Kevin steals the lives of his classmates to give Eva some horrible guilt, shame, and trauma for the mere sin of being his mother. topping it off by adding his father and sister to the body count. And look, Eva saw all the signs, but she could never quite figure out what to do with that information. The scene with the doctor ignoring her concerns about autism and just neurodivergence at large speaks to the lack of institutional knowledge when it comes to dealing with a kid like this. And Franklin's complete and utter dismissal about his wife's experience of Kevin is the primary reason for the fractured trust in their relationship. When Eva gets pregnant with Celia, she hides it from her husband until Kevin outs her. Again, it's not explicitly stated, but my interpretation is that she probably doesn't know if she wants to keep the baby. The whole ordeal with Kevin was so isolating, and she didn't have the support of her partner during any of it. Why would she want to relive that? Despite the fact that Eva's concerns were overlooked both within the home and outside of it, she accepts the world's punishments for birthing and raising a demon child. A seemingly random woman slaps her in the face, and she doesn't retaliate. One of the mothers of Kevin's victims smashes her eggs at this weird-looking movie grocery store, and not only does she take them as they are, but she immediately makes an omelet and eats it, slowly removing the cracked eggshells one by one. Eva does draw the line when a creepy coworker feels entitled to her body.
Where do you get off, you stuck-up bitch? You think anyone else is gonna want you now?
But even here, she doesn't particularly stand up for herself, opting instead to slip quietly out of the office party. The only person who's actually kind to her is a survivor of the attack, but Eva is so wrapped up in her guilt that she's unable to reach the olive branch he's holding out to her. She retreats from the only real opportunity to find healing and absolution in her harsh and unforgiving hellscape. Eva's color is red. She spends the entire film trying to wash away the sins she inherited from her son, but it's all consuming. When she encounters the mother at the grocery store, she seeks refuge in the safety of the canned red sauce. The only time Eva is truly happy, truly herself, is at this tomato sauce festival. She's never more alive than she is at this moment, and then the excitement fades away, and she's left with nothing. Kevin and Eva have a lot in common. They're both lanky, androgynous weirdos who love a jelly sandwich on white bread and struggle to connect with people. Where Eva tries awkwardly to blend in and fails beyond belief, Kevin wears an incredibly charming mask and saunters through life getting everything he wants. And while neither of them are particularly emotionally fulfilled, at least Eva can experience some joy. She seems to have good individual relationships with Franklin and Celia, and she even gets something out of watching them dance together. But Kevin, he only seems happy when he's psychologically torturing his mother. While he's taking out his classmates, Kevin mostly just seems upset, frustrated. But he gleams right the hell up when he gets to witness his mother's horrified expression. You'd think he'd at least get some twisted pleasure whilst carrying out his abominable act, but he doesn't. He gets off on tormenting Eva and Celia, so then why in this big, powerful moment, why is he so consumed by anger? Because Kevin is jealous of his classmates, of normal people. They're able to form real bonds and find contentment within themselves. Kevin can't do that. He can't even experience joy.
You don't look happy. Have I ever?
This is an act of retribution, not empowerment. And this is why he kills Franklin and Celia. As portrayed in the film, their default dispositions are sunny as hell. He leaves his mother standing because she is the only person who understands his experience of life. Well, that and he likes having her as an audience member. Eva so desires a normal relationship with her son, despite knowing full well that he is never going to fit in that box. She takes him out on a sort of mother-son date night, and they both have an absolutely miserable time, because they don't like mini-golf. They're not fun people. And that's okay, but she keeps attempting to force something that's not there. When he's a toddler, Eva tries to get Kevin to interact with the ball, but he's just not having it. She's so focused on achieving normalcy, not just for Kevin, but for herself, that she becomes an easy target for manipulation. Franklin gets away with all of his semi-gaslighting because Eva craves the idea of normalcy more than she values trying to be open and honest about her son. And Kevin absolutely exploits his mother's desire to fit in. In the aftermath of breaking her son's arm, Eva works up the nerve to tell Franklin the truth, but then they hear Kevin take a shit upstairs, and she falls back, trading one concession for another. She'd rather pretend to be a faultless mother and deal with Kevin's demands than admit to accidentally hurting their son and accept the social repercussions of her actions. This is oddly self-defeating, because Kevin kind of respects the honesty of her anger when she pushed him.
You remember how you got that?
Most honest thing you ever did.
It is only after her daughter suffers a major injury from her son that Eva finally stands up for someone. It's not herself, it's her daughter, but hey, that's something. Eva confronts Franklin about getting a divorce. The quiet part is not said out loud, but I'm assuming that they go for the mother-daughter, father-son divide. When Kevin hears this, his sense of stability implodes. The thing about Eva is that Kevin can actually be himself around her. This is not true of his father and the people at school. And though he is very charming and presents a far more appealing persona than Eva ever could, Kevin can only drop the facade every so often because the reality of his person is so deeply unsettling for most people. It's pretty horrible, and ideally there'd be a less destructive way of doing it, but in going on a murdering spree, Kevin frees himself from constantly having to mask. It's also a pretty big change for the relationship with his mother. She finally drops the normalcy routine. When Eva goes to meet Kevin in juvie, they just stare at each other for a while as he grooms his nails, because that is what their actual relationship looks like. And later, when Kevin expresses concerns about going to the adult prison, Eva just mocks him. All of the reasons to be nice to him, all of the social pretext, it's gone. She can now express how she truly feels. And being honest with the reflections they see in each other, they can start being more accepting and understanding of their individual selves. Anyway, feel free to eat lychee berries in the comments. Bye.
You don't really remember being a kid much, do you, Dad? See, he's just gonna have to suck it up.